Let's go ahead and do the stability ball hamstring curl together. You're going to go ahead and lay down with your hamstring, with your stability ball in front of you. Just go ahead and stick your feet on there for now. It doesn't matter where to start. We're gonna just kind of address our arms first. So there's a few different positions you can put your arms in, and we're gonna go from easiest to hardest, okay? And this is a great way to progress the movement. As one becomes too easy, or feels easy, then you can, basically, the idea is that the more of your arm is on the ground, the easier it'll be. So the less of your arm, the harder it gets. So you can either have your arms out a little ways from your body, all completely on the ground, like this. If you bend your elbows and have your forearms in the air, that will be a little less stable, right? A little less of our arm on the ground. And then if you bring your arms up overhead like this, now all you have is your shoulders and back on the ground, so that will be the least stable, which will make it harder. So either like this or with your hands crossed across your chest, okay? So those are the options there. I'll just do this for now so you can see me. With your feet, they can either be heels on the ball, like this, or feet flat on the ball. If your feet are flat on the ball, it'll get your calf muscle, your gastrocnemius, a little bit more involved. The advantage to that is, it's great to work muscles together. At the same time, if you're really trying to focus on training your hamstrings, if we do the heels, that will kind of force the hamstrings to do a bit more of the work, which can also be good. We're gonna start with our knee and hip bent a little less than 90 degrees, kind of something like this. 90 degrees would be if our hip was bent so that our thigh was perpendicular. We're gonna actually go out a bit, and same thing with the knee. We're just gonna push everything out a little bit. The reason for that is because we want to start with and keep a neutral spine. I often talk about what a neutral spine actually is, just because I never knew what it was before. So a neutral spine, have you ever seen a picture of like a spine? You probably have, right? Like the bones, that little, you know that it's not straight up and down, right? And usually, not usually, always, not usually, this is across the board, all humans. At the base of our spine, there is a little curve inward of the low back, like this, a little curve inward, like kind of towards our stomach. So when we're in a neutral spine, even laying down, there should be a little bit of space here at our low back between the floor. We should be able to fit a finger or two here, and that's where the spine is curving in at the lumbar. Not like a big ol' thing, right? That's not neutral spine, but just a little bit of something there. If we pull our legs in too far, that's gonna cause us to kind of round our low back, okay? And so then we're taking out of a neutral spine. So that's why we kind of start with things back out here. Okay, so we're basically ready to go ahead and get fully into position and then do the movement. What you're going to do is you're going to push down your heels or your feet into the ball. You're gonna push down, and you're gonna use your glute muscles to lift the pelvis off the floor about 4 inches or so. It doesn't need to be super far, but you're gonna use the glute muscles to press up and keeping that neutral spine here, okay? So we're not gonna have a rounded or super flexed, right? So the spine is not supposed to move as we lift it. It's just here at the hip joint that is going to be, getting a little less creased, okay? So we have a kind of a big crease here. We're gonna use the glutes to press the pelvis up, so now there's a little less crease at our hip. Does that make sense? So that's the idea there. Okay, I'm just gonna do this so you can kind of see my spine a little bit better. Okay, so here we are in position. Our arms are here, here, or here, whichever. Start here if this is new to you. To do the movement, you're going to push your legs out straight, and then you're gonna pull them in. That's all there really is to it. But as you pull in, you want to think about using your hamstrings and glute muscles to pull in. And the rest in here, you'll notice that my torso is not dropping as I pull in. Do you see that? It's not dropping. It's staying in the same position, and it's just here at the hip joint that is getting creased and then uncreasing and straightening here. And the knees, of course, are bending and unbending as well.
Hi, I'm Razel. If you're a woman in your over 40s like myself, and you know that it would be good for you to be doing resistance training, but you've been intimidated, like you just don't even know where to start, I create detailed tutorials like this, not only how to do the movement, but ways to make it easier and harder, things to avoid. I have all of that extra stuff over on my website, and if you like the style of my teaching, come on over there. It's at inspirefulwomen.com.
Now, a couple other pointers I want to point out is with our upper body, when you're here with the pelvis up, you want to have the weight in your upper back and shoulders and in the feet. So you want to have your neck relaxed and the arms should be relaxed. Like, because I tend, like when I first did this movement, I was like, super tense. And that's because it was really hard, which means you should, you know, step it down to an easier level if that's the case for you. But yeah, all the weight should be your shoulders and upper back and in your feet, okay? So that's something to keep in mind, and that's for the duration of the exercise. Now, the other thing is, as you straighten your legs, the idea is fully straighten the knee if it's comfortable for you. I tend to have a little bit of, like, I get pain and pressure on the back sides of my knees. So I do have to be careful with that, like with movements like this. If that's the case for you, you know, we never want to move into pain. So for you, just only go out as far as is comfortable. If that means still kind of having a little bend in the knee, like that, that's totally fine, okay? So make sure that you're not pushing into something where you're just feeling a ton of pressure on the back side of the joint. Now, as you get stronger with the movement, you can move from having your pelvis just a few inches off the ground to raising it a little higher and doing the movement that way. And just one last thing, I just want to reiterate this, that remember, this is about straightening and bending the legs, but we shouldn't be, our pelvis shouldn't be dropping like this. This should all stay in the same place at that little angle while the legs go in and out. So I'm going to go ahead and do just a few with each arm position so you can see what it looks like. So here with the arms all the way down, use the glutes to lift the pelvis a few inches or a little more depending on your strength. Press the legs out, fully straighten if possible. Pull in. Okay, then with the forearms off the ground, then let me fix my socks. I actually usually do this barefoot. You could do with shoes too, it really doesn't totally matter. Okay, so now I'm going to, this is definitely a lot less stable because if you think about it, there's like way less of my body now here. Like when you spread out here and your arms are there and this is a wide base of support, right? I'm removing all of that. Okay, here we go. From this angle, here's what it looks like. I want you to notice that my knees are aligned with my feet and my hips, all kind of going straight. Okay.
Thanks for being with me today, ladies. Once again, I'm Razel, and if you are a woman in your over 40s like myself, you like my style of teaching, and you'd like to do full-length workouts along with me using these exact type of movements, I create the workouts in beautiful outdoor nature settings like this with chill music. So if that sounds good to you, come on over to my website at inspirefulwomen.com.